bringing you the latest news from Coronado Athletics. This is the Mustang Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back. We're going to jump into the Mustang Fan Zone in just a minute. Andrew Roy, coach, second-year coach, is to my left. We're waiting on a couple of Mustangs to get here, so I'm going to run through this week's schedule around town. Thursday night, Friendship goes on the road to Andrew Roy's hometown, Abilene, faces Byron Nelson at Shotwell Stadium. That is on 97.3 FM. Lubbock High is at home against Hereford in the Lowry Field game on Thursday. It's down the radio dial a little bit at one of our neighbors. I don't know if the radio dial still exists, but I'm going to say that because I'm an old dude. Friday nights, the HubCityPreps.com game of the week is Lucas Lovejoy at Lubbock Cooper at Pirate Stadium. That's on 100.7 The Score. These Coronado Mustangs hit the road for Wichita Falls, take on Legacy. That is on, I want to make sure I get this right, 96.9 The Bull. That's at 7 p.m. Monterey is at home against Choctaw, Oklahoma on 93.7 The Eagle. Estacado is also on the road down towards Abilene. They play at Jim Ned at 7 p.m. That's on another network. Liberty is at home against New Home. That's the first of four straight home games for the Patriots. That's on 93.1 Yes FM. Trinity Christian is playing, and a lot of teams going to Abilene. Trinity Christian's playing Jewett-Leon at Abilene Christian High School. Lubbock Christian's on the road at Wink. And then there's two six-man games. Christ the King's at home against Anton, and Kingdom Preps at home against Amherst. That's a busy schedule, Andrew, for a Friday night. Early in the season, there's not a lot of teams playing each other.
I love hearing it, man. It's time, man.
There we go. Lubbock and Abilene are going to be very busy towns that night.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's that time of year, and let's get it.
Well, and let's start talking about your guys. I did a little prep work. And you guys are coming off a 3-7 season, but you won two of your last three games. I'm not sure that people realize that. I think they see the 3-7 and say, what happened? But then you guys finished. In fact, if I remember, you went into the Amarillo High game with the mathematical equations.
Yeah.
That one didn't turn out so well, but you bounced back. You had that one, and then had to wait a week and then played Lubbock High, but finished on a high note.
We did, man, and it was, a different season to say the least. We started out with some adversity and dealt with some things that, were out of our hands, and, we had to put some people in some positions and see what we could do and try to build on it, and I think it's actually going to help us for this year. We had some guys step up, and they're going to be key players for us this year.
Just talked to one of your coaching cohorts in town. I talked to Chip Darden earlier today, and something I said is, especially you're a defensive-minded guy. You came here as a defensive coordinator before you became the head coach. Sometimes I don't think it's not fun when it's happening when your defense is struggling, but when you have guys back from that can be an awfully strong motivation coming into the next season.
Yeah, absolutely. We gave up more than we wanted to last year, and, I thought our offense did well. We're going to have a new offense this year, and they're starting to pick it up. But the defense, the guys that we have back, I think they're special, and, we could really do some good things.
The reason I did my research, I wanted to find out a little bit about Wichita Falls Legacy. That was their first season last year. They finished 0-10. Their 34 points against you guys was actually their season high.
Yeah.
But they allowed 28 points or more in every game. First of all, it's a little bit scary to be facing a team that's still looking for that first win in their history.
Absolutely. That's been our motivation this week. They're looking for their first win. They're under a new head coach, a new system. He's got them going. They look good on film. They're athletic. They're big. They're fast. And so they're gonna be looking for that first win in school history.
Yes,
and
not just this year, but
you don't want to. Not just for the year, but in school history. So you don't want to be that first win.
You don't want to be that yearbook picture that they hang up 20 years from now. They've got some. If I remember, I think I may have seen them play against Friendship the following week. They had some talent last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just young talent.
Yeah, they were big up front. They had a good quarterback, had some good receivers. They ended up, I think, maybe that next week or the week after, quarterback getting hurt.
Yes.
Receiver getting hurt. I think backup quarterback got hurt later on in the season. So they just had some struggles, but the talent is there. You know what I mean? And I think under this coaching staff, like you can tell on film that they're going in the right direction.
Well, there's only one direction to go when you go 0-10. So
that's it.
This is more about you guys, though. I don't want to. That's enough about the Leopards. We're going to talk about the Mustangs. You mentioned that you did lose some key guys on offense. A lot of names that have been around for a few years.
Some good ones. Yeah.
Which starts with the quarterback.
Yep. Isaiah Vasquez, man, he's a big one. He's off at college and he's having fun, and I get to see pictures of him, getting in his freshman year and first day of school and getting their helmets and pads. Him and Abraham Ragland and Demarion Finch, Dom Parrish, they're all at school right now and getting ready to get into their season. So,
if I remember right, 3 of those guys were 3-year starters.
Yeah. So
Isaiah had to wait his turn a little bit behind Jet Carroll, but he got in there and made a splash. But you've got some guys back. We're coming up on a break, so we're going to talk more about who's back and who's going to kind of take the reins on offense, because he's a very intriguing kid. I talked to him the other day. We'll come back after the break in the Mustang Fan Zone. This is Randy Rosetta on 100.7 The Score. This is the high school Fan Zone. We'll be back right after this.
Diving headfirst into Coronado athletics. You're listening to the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score on the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back into the Mustang Fan Zone on a Tuesday night on 100.7 The Score. I want to run through a couple of things real quick before we get Andrew to jump back in here. A reminder that the schedule has been juggled a little bit on the Fan Zone for the fall. Monday nights will be Estacado, Memorial, and Liberty, 6 p.m., 6:30, 7 p.m. Tuesday nights, Monterey starts us off at 6 p.m., followed by Coronado at 6:30 p.m. Wednesday nights are going to be Lubbock High at 6 p.m., Friendship at 6:30 p.m., Lubbock Cooper at 7 p.m. I've mentioned the schedule for this week. I'm going to run through the stations, Raymar stations that carry games. Double T 97.3 is Friendship's station for football game, well, all sports. Right here on 100.7 The Score is the home of Lubbock Cooper. Liberty games are on 93.1 Yes FM. These Mustangs are heard on 96.9 The Bull. And Monterey is on 93.7 The Eagle. Friday nights from 6 to 6:30 p.m. on both Double T 97.3 FM and 100.7 The Score is the West Texas Friday Night Preview. Both stations will also carry the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard. I'm going to quit talking because we've been joined by a couple of Mustangs here. We'll let them introduce themselves real quick.
Hello, my name is Hayden Harger.
Willie Crane.
I know Willie's been around for a while. Hayden, you were around last year. Tight end?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm partial to tight ends. That's what I was wound up in high school. So I expect big things from tight ends.
Sir,
you got big shoes. You got Dom Parrish's spot to take over. So, Willie, you've been around for a while. You're a cornerback or safety?
Cornerback.
Speak it. Make sure.
Cornerback.
I want to make sure Mom and Grandma can hear you. Don't get me in trouble. Well, I appreciate you guys getting here. I'm sorry that Coach and I were talking about. We hoped you didn't head to the former.
No.
I held them late. We were practicing late. So.
Coach has got you guys working. We were talking a little bit about the challenge this week. You have to go on the road, that long, dreadful trip to Wichita Falls. It feels like you're driving on Mars for a couple hours. You're playing a team that you beat at the start of last season, and they didn't win a game at all in their first season. Willie, they're going to be loaded for bear to try to get that first win. How do you guys have to be motivated against them?
Just like it motivates them, it definitely motivates us because we know we don't want to be their first win. So we're going into it just like that, so we're not taking them lightly at all.
You may have missed it unless you were listening. Coach was bragging about that there were some guys back on defense, from guys that are motivated to get better this year. You're one of those. What does this defense have to be better at starting Friday night?
We just got to start being more physical, more togetherness, more discipline. I feel like we've gotten way better at that this summer. All the guys, we've come together. A lot of leaders, a lot of people that stepped up with this team, so I'm excited.
Hayden, there are some new faces on offense at starters. Now, you guys have all been around, but some new starters on offense. You're one of them. J.J. Villalobos is at quarterback. I want to make sure I'm not breaking any news there. You just started quarterback.
Yep.
There's going to be other guys. Offensively, you guys did some nice things last year, including late in the season. You put up some points, got a couple of wins. Coach said that it's a little bit different offense this year. How different can you guys be this year with some new faces and new places?
Well, I think talent-wise, like, we're definitely the best, like one of the best in the district. But this year, it's a lot less. It's like we're a team. It's not like, individual players. Like, we're moving as a unit, offensive unit. Everyone's going to go out there, do their job to their best of their ability, and we're going to win a lot of games this year. Yeah. Excited.
Got to like that enthusiasm. Andrew, is there a new offensive coordinator?
Yeah, so,
okay.
Coach Ragland, he went to Idalou. He's going to be the offensive coordinator over there. So we brought in Coach Reinhardt, someone that I got to coach, about 15 years ago when I was in Snyder. And he's come up through the ranks, worked for some guys that I worked for. He's coming from Weatherford, a system that I knew, a system that I liked. And so I'm familiar with the terminology and stuff like that. And he's come in, he's got some good stuff. And these guys, Willie's not just playing cornerback, he's playing receiver too.
There we go.
So he's returning punts, he's returning kickoffs. So we're trying to put our best guys in positions to make us better. Hayden has come out on fire. I've never seen Hayden block like he's blocked, like he's taking ownership of the tight end position. And he's going to be one of the best in the state, and it's been fun to watch.
Like I said, I'm a former tight end. You got to convince coach that you got to throw the tight end.
Yes, sir. We're going to throw him. We're going to throw him some bones. We're going to throw him some bones. He knows that.
Yes, sir. I understand you have to block, but coach, give me the ball once in a while. You lost a lot of guys on that side of the ball, but you lost a security blanket into Marion.
Yeah,
that's a guy who for 3 years has been somebody who you knew hand the ball, he's going to get some yards. When we come back after this break for the final segment, we'll talk a little bit about some of the guys who, besides Willie, who need to step up on that side of the ball to kind of get you guys going in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll be back after this break in the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta, and we'll be right back.
Your inside look into Coronado sports. This is the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome into the final segment of the Mustang Fan Zone on a Tuesday night. I went through the shuffled deck, and we'll do that again tomorrow night. Just 2 shows on Tuesday night, so Jamie Linton was kind enough to let me escape a little bit early on Tuesday so I can cover a little bit of volleyball. I don't want to make volleyball people upset at me. Andrew knows what I'm talking about.
I got to get there.
That's a different kind of fan base. They are just as passionate about that sport as football fans are, and I love that. That's one reason I do what I do. I told these guys that we would mention this briefly and then move on, because a lot of you guys' motivation this year is ending a drought that's gotten to 3 years without the playoffs. Hayden, you're a senior?
Yes, sir.
So the last time you guys were there is when you were a freshman. Correct?
He was in 8th grade.
Yeah,
8th grader. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to make it a little bit better. How much does that kind of push you guys to know it's time for us to get back into the dance?
Yeah, I think that's one of our biggest things going into the year is, we know we got past couple of years we had like good guys. We had playoff teams that just haven't made it, and so one of our things this year is discipline and win up front, be physical, go hit them in the mouth. Things that we haven't been doing as well in the past few years, So I think that's one of our main goals this year. It's what's fueling us the most, make playoffs.
What about you, Willie? That's something that's got to be driving you too.
Yeah, I feel like I want to be there so bad because last time we seen it, we was in 8th grade, and we actually went and watched the game where we beat Tascosa. Like, all of us in the class was there, and we still talk about that to this day, how just live and turned they were and how, together they were. So, yeah, it definitely motivates us.
That dude to your left had a lot to do with that team getting things turned around, because that team struggled a little bit early in the season and found it in a lot of ways, but especially defensively. Andrew, what about this team makes you feel like they've got the chance to to put that memory behind them?
Man, the physicality on defense, like Willie can tell you, like I put on that film with those guys and we watched that Tascosa film when we won district and how they're flying around and they're being physical, and up front we're just physical and manhandling guys, and we go back and we watch it and I'm like, look, same defense, same everything, and you guys are just as good or better. And that's the type of defense that we want to have, and we're trying to take that same mentality. Me as a defensive coordinator, I want to take that into the head coaching role, and I'm taking that over to the offense. And so, man, Hayden's done a 360. Like he's totally different from last year. He was wanting to just go catch passes, and now he's blocking down and he's blocking everybody, and then he's getting out and catching balls and catching touchdowns, and it's been fun to watch the transition, and I'm excited for this week.
I mentioned before we went to the break, you did have a security blank the last few years in the backfield in my mind just went completely blank.
Demarion
Finch, who gets to kind of step into that role, or is there more than one guy?
Man, we have a couple of them, and one is Aiden Gutierrez. He's an 11th grader. He's a junior, and he's a dog, man. He's just a flat-out go-getter. He can play both sides of the ball. He's going to return some kickoffs with Willie. He's going to return some punts with Willie. And he's just a dude. He's broke a couple long touchdown runs in both scrimmages. And then Darian Brooks is another one. Like, we have a 1-2 punch that I think is probably going to be one of the best in the district. Darian broke a long one last week, and he's just it's a thunder and lightning combination, and it's really fun to watch.
I've gotten to know Coach well enough to know that he wants that defense to be good, but usually when it's a defensive-minded coach, the other side of that is he wants to make sure you can run the ball and grind the team down a little bit. He's still going to throw it, I promise. I bet JJ's discussing that with him on a regular basis. It's going to sound weird. I want every team in Lubbock to do well and to find their – but to me, Lubbock football is healthier when Coronado's doing well because you guys have – been so good for so long. What will it mean for you guys to kind of get things going again this year?
That's just our main goal. Like, gotta set up Coronado for the future, change the culture. The culture's been kind of ruined a little bit these past few years. So we're trying to just have a winning mindset, winning mentality. Aggressive. And all that,
Willie, you guys get started Friday night at Wichita Falls Legacy. What's the best first step you can make, real quick?
All gas, no brakes.
That's a good answer.
Once we get on them, we don't want to stop, and that's the biggest thing. I feel like these last couple of years we've been able to play with teams, but we've let teams play with us a lot. So and we don't really want to do that. Once we get on you, we just want to keep the gas going all night.
That's a good place to stop. We're going to wrap up in the Mustang Fan Zone on a Tuesday night. We'll be back tomorrow night in the high school fan zone. This is Randy Rosetta on 100.7 The Score.